What's up, Messaging Master? Welcome to one of the most, if not the most, important section in this entire course, because this is the finding, diagnosing, and creating problems section. Everything that you need to know about problems, understanding problems, finding problems, knowing the stage of awareness that your prospect is in as it relates to their problem. Reason why, guys, is because with no problem, there is no sale. If there's not a problem, there's no reason for them to hop on a call. There's no reason to do anything. So if you haven't yet, watch the context video on how to understand context and where context is and being within the realm of context. Once you watch that, you'll understand that the context of a good conversation is one that you guys have a big, heavy problem, and you guys are talking about that problem and trying to solve it together. And you are coming off as an authority as it relates to that problem. Most people, they're trying to kind of wedge their script into a conversation where there is no problem. And this is essentially, you've done your socializing. You've talked to people. You've communicated with people. Now you have a bunch of people that are admitting to problems, or you're going and finding problems. And this is that part of that conversation from here on out. All right. So here's how this kind of works. All right. So here's the purpose. Our purpose of this video today is to identify the stage of awareness. The stage of awareness that a prospect is in as it relates to their problem, how to adjust the conversation to either help them find the problem, talk about the existing problem, or to expand on problems they previously thought were very small. But now, after talking to you, that problem's huge in their mind and they want to solve it now. So, here's what we need to know before we dive in. All right. There's something called a problem awareness level. In this case, there are 3. There are more, but for the sake of this video, these are the 3 that you're going to run into. So, the first thing to understand is the problem awareness level that your prospect is at, and to adjust your messaging from there. So again, this is context. So what context are you in? The reason why just one script doesn't work in a messaging setting is because there's just going to be so many different types of awareness, and you got to be flexible based on the level of awareness that your prospect has. Stage 1, unaware. Stage 2, pain aware, but problem unaware. Then we have stage 3, which is pain aware, but they're also problem aware. All right. So again, there's more, but to keep things simple, let's just focus on these 3. So remember, pain and problems are different. The problem is the cause of the pain, and the pain is the effect of the problem. So I'm going to repeat this. This is very important. The problem is the cause of the pain, and the pain is the effect of the problem, right? So your job is to be finding problems. Either they know the problem and you're helping them find the pain, and that's what that's doing is it's in turn showing them the severity of the problem, or you're finding their pain and you're leading down and you're helping them diagnose what the problem is that's causing the pain. Pretty simple, right? Your buyers are taking action because it is too painful to keep the problem. For example, I'll use you as an example. You are going through these long videos, you're going through educating yourself in depth of the problem of messaging. You're going through the content. You pulled out your credit card, you bought the thing, because the pain of not knowing how to DM people, get them on a calendar, and close them is higher than the pain of spending the money, going through the videos, and it's a good trade for you. And so you've made the decision and you did the thing. And that's the same with your buyers. Your buyers, especially if you're a higher ticket or it's a big ticket item, what's going to happen is you got to make sure that, hey, dropping that $5, $6, $10, $20,000 is less painful It's going to be painful, but it's a lot less painful in comparison to the problem and the magnitude of the problem that they are perceiving, or that you help them see, or that they knew they already had, or that you've stretched out and showed them like the severity of it if they don't solve it. That's all we're doing. So there's the 3 stages. Again, there's unaware, pain aware, and problem unaware. Then we have pain aware, problem aware. And some are more difficult than others. So stage 1, this part of the market doesn't typically have any pain, and they don't have a problem in their minds. Okay, they are typically comfortable and they have room for improvement and could use your solution, but don't have like really the urgency or the pain to necessarily pull the trigger. Okay, so they're a little more unaware. Your job is to create a gap and to make them aware. All right, we'll go into this in a second. Stage 2, pain aware, problem unaware. This type of buyer is aware of the pain, but they don't know why they have the pain. Or they're just misinformed about the problem. So they think they know, but they don't. Okay, so that could be a thing here as well. Or they just don't know, and it's frustrating, and they just want to know why. So almost everyone that goes to a doctor or a dentist or any sort of like emergency situation, it's because they're looking to the doctor for guidance and a diagnosis to stop the pain. They just know they got pain. They don't know why. Tell me why. I'll solve it. Easy. Okay. Stage 3 is pain aware, problem aware. This is the buyer that's aware of the cause, aware of the effect. They likely, and likely all of the solutions out there they likely know all of the solutions out there to solve the issue, and they're like shopping, right? They're asking about price, logistics, because they are actively looking for a solution. So this is the buyer that this is like easy mode. This is where most, like, if you just have a pretty decent script, you do a lot of volume, and you're going to run into people like this, and they're going to want to solve the problem, and you're going to make a sale off it. So ideally, you guys are just living in this, and like everybody you sell to is this, and like it's easy, and you don't got to have any skill, and yada yada yada, and you make a good offer and they close. But most of the time, it's kind of looks like this. Most of the market lives here. Excuse me. Most of the market lives here. And this is where, like, especially in like education market and coaching market, this is kind of like most of them. So let's keep going. So I'm going to give you some strategy first before we go into the actual messaging. So the reason why I'm going to go into strategy first is because there's sometimes you can just do a couple tweaks, and you can either change up the offer, you can change up the positioning, you can change up who you're talking to, and it just takes care of a lot of the heavy lifting, so you don't have to be as persuasive. Okay, if you want to book on that, $100 million offers by Alex Hormozy, you can check that one out. He's just big on just like, why don't we just make it easier on ourselves? So this is where we're going to start, so we can make it easier on ourselves. One of the fastest ways to improve your numbers is to change who you're talking to. For example, if you're talking to a bunch of unaware buyers and you have a very problem-heavy and a very expensive offer, then it can be an uphill battle. So examples of changing the who, say a weight loss coach who is pretty decent at messaging and sales, but wasn't getting any deals. This is actually an example of somebody I helped. Like, I'm sitting here like looking at his messaging. I'm looking at his sales. I'm like, guy, you're like not that bad. Like your skill isn't reflecting, your level of skill isn't reflecting the results that you have. Meaning his skills here, his results are here. So there's something broken. So we found out he was talking about a lot of very slightly out of shape people. Right? And some people were like actually in shape. I'm looking at like all the DMs, and I'm looking at the people, and I'm like, these guys are like skinny. Like they don't have any problems. So their pain and their problem awareness was very low, as opposed to, imagine like a morbidly obese guy with health issues. Holy crap. Like that guy's going to like have the urgency, he's going to have the pain, and you could literally be super bad at sales and the guy would buy. Easy. So like that's one way to just totally like handle it. So we basically, he was here playing in like hard mode, and then we just said, just go down here and make it easier on yourself. Another one, a payment processing business targeting businesses at a stage when there isn't a lot of need to cut expenses, as opposed to a business that just hit a point where processing fees are making up a big chunk of losses every month. So imagine like a business doing 10 grand a month versus a business doing 400 grand a month. Well, the 400 grand a month guy, he's probably like trying to cut expenses because he's seeing money bleeding out, and he realized like one of the biggest expenses where he's bleeding money unnecessarily is payment processing. So it's an easy sale. It's like, duh, like let's solve this, because then you can take that income and you can put it towards something else in your business. That makes more sense. So we just switch up who you're talking to and make it a lot easier. So you don't got to go convincing people. All right. That's one way. That's one strategy. The second strategy is education selling. This is the path of educating a buyer on the real problem that they have. So you know that they have a problem, they don't. Sometimes your market has problems they don't know about, and they need a little extra help seeing the issue. So this is it's going to take a little bit of skill, but it's going to help you tap into a bigger portion of the market. I think most of us are going to be here. This is what we're doing in content. It's what we're doing in our Facebook feed. It's what we're doing in Messenger. But we can do this with our content messaging, these things. All right, so some examples. A coach asking a guy questions about why he can't keep his weight off. What you're doing is he's going to reveal the ignorance that he has about the pain that he has, and then it's going to create doubt in the buyer. The buyer's like, oh, I don't know why. It's also going to give the coach authority in the conversation, and then they can transition by saying, hey, here's what it actually is, and here's how we're going to solve it. Super, super easy. And he's weaving in education into his sales process. So right here is creating problems. Okay, this is the third one. This isn't what it sounds like. It's not fabricating problems that aren't there, but merely solving issues that lead to new problems. So this is a more long-term approach, but it's very, 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 very effective. So every problem that you solve will inevitably create a new problem. It's literally just how life works. Think about, for example, here, we have, we're here to solve your messaging problems. After you solve it, you're going to have a full calendar. You're going to have a lot of sales calls. You're going to have probably a big Facebook group. You're going to have people hitting you up. You're going to have big lists of people. This is going to reveal and create new problems. So either you're going to find out, oh my God, my offer is an issue. I'm not charging enough. I have economics problems in the business. I have sales problems. Then the next logical step is to hit me up. And then, you go spend more money with me. And then I solve that problem. And then that problem causes another problem. And it's kind of like it's like a slippery slide. All right. So like the way that you can do this, and you can do it with low ticket memberships. You can do this with low ticket courses, community areas, freebies, books, things like that. Warning, it works best if you already have an audience. So if you're just going cold, it's probably don't go spend time writing a book, right? So these assets can either reveal a problem that they didn't know was there, but it could also solve a problem and then inevitably create that new problem. Again, most of you guys aren't going to do this. This isn't going to be the right thing. But if you have Facebook groups, if you have, a moving business, it might actually be very economically helpful for you to have something like this, so that you can solve some little problems that actually need to be solved for them to buy the big thing. Because a lot of times the big package isn't really going to solve that little problem, right? And it starts to convert people a little bit faster. So these are the three strategies or different levers you can pull before you really start focusing on the process of messaging. This is probably the biggest one. This is like the biggest sin I see is you're just talking to the wrong people and they don't have the problem. Just find the right people, or educate people and show them they have a problem, or go and create problems. Pretty simple. All right, let us move on. Boom. All right. What the heck? All right, let's go into each one of these. Our goal now is to be able to dominate all market awareness levels in messaging. All right? So no matter if somebody's unaware, somebody is aware, and somebody is aware of their pain and the problem, we can get all of them. We don't have to rely on somebody knowing they have a problem, knowing they are pain aware, and then that person's just a lay down, and then you're just looking for lay downs all day. Okay? We're looking for the ability to just nail all of these. So let's start with unaware. The difficulty of this market is high. To give you some context, almost like the majority of the sales I've made have been in an unaware market. Yeah. So most of my sales have been in an unaware market, and to be clear, it was a mindset offer to like business owners. So very like a lot of these guys had egos. They didn't want to admit it was themselves. Like there was just a lot of layers, and the level how hard this market was compared to like just a lay down business opportunity. Duh. If you don't buy this, you're stupid type of offer. This is more like a therapy session. It's very, very tricky, and a lot of like I had to learn a lot of like gap building. I had to learn a lot of like NLP, anchoring, logic traps. I had to learn a lot of this stuff so that I could really, really create like a problem on every single one of my calls. All right. So this is where a lot of this is coming from. So the main challenges to be aware of here are you're going to get time objections, which in reality, the real objection is the level of importance they're actually placing on the problem. It's not going to be very offer heavy, because once you help them find the problem and they believe it's the problem, they're going to want to solve it, and you're pretty much going to be the best bet. So time objections, like if they see it's like not important, and they're just, because they're not problem aware, they don't really know what the solution is. So like if you're going very like solution heavy on your messaging, let's say it's mindset or it's a spiritual offer, it's a very like abstract offer, and they just came to that realization by talking to you, and then you're like, so what have you done to solve this? They're like, nothing, bro. I just found out this is a problem. So it's not a very solution heavy one. So you're not going to get a lot of like, I'm talking to other people about it. Over probing, coming off salesy, these are some other challenges that you're going to face. So like, they just can't think of the problem and you keep prodding, it's going to piss them off. More objections in general. They're just going to have more objections in general. So some best practices. Logic traps work, which is essentially just making logical arguments. Skilled questions, belief shifting, changing their beliefs, helping them see things from a different perspective. Future pacing, showing them the actual outcome of if they don't solve this unaware or invisible problem that they didn't know they had, creating gaps. So we got to create gaps. Gaps mean there's a goal, there's where they are now, and then we're using really strategic questioning to show them that there's no way they're going to hit that goal unless they solve that problem. So examples of unaware markets. So mindset. These are markets. This isn't specific. Like there's types of people that are unaware, but they're more common in these areas. So mindset, personal development, branding, PR, health, spirituality, dating. Maybe not dating as much, but dating's a little black and white. The reason I put dating here is because if you have like a men's dating offer, there's a lot of ego, and they all just believe they have the fucking gift of gab. Every guy's good with girls, right? So that comes up a lot in here, and there's more. It's more of like they know they have a problem. They're just having a hard time admitting to the problem. So they just don't have a safe space to talk about it. So these are commonly unaware markets. So don't take this as gospel. Just go out and find out for yourself. Like, are they unaware or are they aware? The best way to handle these markets is to create solid word tracks that shape the buyer's perspective. It's a word track. It's a way of asking questions that almost always leads them to a conclusion of like an aha, an epiphany, like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. And you're going to really, if you have this market and you can't shift out of it and it's just like that's your market, week 2 is going to be really helpful because I'm going to teach you how to write these word tracks. So, but we got to know like that this is the market first. So the way to think about this is like, think about how a lawyer wins a case. A good lawyer can take any side of any case and they can win, right? So they just find evidence to support any side because both sides are true. So with unaware markets, you're essentially creating a case. Imagine the lawyer, say they're a, what are they? Criminal defense, right? They're defending a criminal. And on the other side of the case is they're trying to accuse the criminal. That same lawyer who's defending the criminal, if they were assigned to the other side, could also accuse the exact same criminal, because there's evidence supporting both sides, and their job as a lawyer is to identify more and more evidence and to weigh it out in the favor of their side. So what you're doing with this specifically is you're essentially creating a case because it's technically true. It's just hard to see as true. I'm going to go into this because I'm going to give you some scripting. You'll see what I mean. So here's an example. So let's say you sell a confidence offer. It's a vague concept. Everyone's got their own way of defining it. It's just like it's vague, right? So like you're not just going to be like, yo, you want to increase your confidence? Or you're going to be like, I don't have a confidence issue. But then you ask good questions, and then I realize they have a confidence issue, and then you go and say, now do you want to solve it? And they're like, yeah, because you use strategic questioning. So their awareness changes based off the questioning that you have. So the offer is that you help men double their confidence in 90 days. So be aware in this case, the problem is confidence. The pain is the effect that a lack of confidence has. So if they know they have a lack of confidence, but there's not a lot of pain because they haven't seen how much it's affecting other areas, then the problem is very small in their mind. Therefore, it is not a problem to them. So this is just one example of word tracks. So please just like, this isn't the exact scripting for every single time. There's so many ways to just build gaps in unaware markets. So there's a lot. I'll go into more of it. This is one way that I've found works. Let's see here. So the potential pain points would be the impact that a lack of confidence has on their life. So let's say the effect on dating, the effect professionally, the effect it has on their health, etc. So we'll find that little things like a confidence thing is really just rippling throughout their whole life, but it's your job to show them that. So it would go problem, the effect of the problem, the pain of the effect. Okay? Then the effect, and then the effect of the pain, and then pain, and so on. And it's just going to keep cycling. And you could literally ask, and you could just go on and 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 on. And you'll see that this thing is just ruining their life because of those questions. So, all problems cause other problems. So here is how I would go about this conversation. So I know there's a lot of you guys in here that have you probably have dating offers, you have confidence offers, you have abstract find your purpose in life offers. These work. People think that, oh, it's the offer doesn't work because it's what you're solving. It's just, it doesn't work because you don't know how to ask the right questions to show them the reality of the problem. I've sold these offers. I've sold millions in these offers. And it's always just how you ask the questions, because it's true for everybody. Everyone needs to find their purpose. Everyone needs to find, have spiritual awakening. Everyone needs to, these are all just kind of like generally true things, but showing them that that's their problem is your job. So one, and this is in week 2, is finding your golden question, but this is an example of a golden question. So let's say you have the confidence offer and you're going to want to direct their mind towards the topic of their confidence levels. So I would ask, which area of your life do you feel like you are lacking the most confidence in? Again, maybe that's not the one because you haven't tested it and I haven't tested it, But that's one way. That's one golden question. It could work because you might find that everyone kind of has an area of their life that they feel like they're lacking confidence in. And they're just going to tell you. And they're like, oh, it's my career. It's this, it's that. And then you can just probe. Another one way that you can ask this is you could be like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate your confidence? If it's anything less than a 10, well, then you have a gap. And then you can just grow the gap. All you're doing in this, this was an example I was given, but where did I get this? Doesn't matter. It's kind of like you have a wound. There's like a little scab. And what you're doing is you're just kind of like tearing it open. And you're sticking your fingers in, and you're digging in there, and then you're opening up, and you're creating more of a gaping wound. But in this case, the wound is already there. You're just like removing layers and showing them what's already real. So we're just taking this one little thing and we're growing and expanding it. This is why unaware markets are the hardest. It's because you got to be so skilled with your questions to open them up about that and to be able to direct their mind. So which area of your life do you feel you are lacking the most confidence in? My career. Then you isolate the problem. So let's say he says, oh yeah, my career. What I don't want to do is I don't want to just be like, oh, well, what about your career? Like I want to get all the data I can first. And that's why I'm going to ask, what other areas of your life do you feel you're lacking confidence? Notice how I ask this question. This isn't about how I ask the question, but I'm going to just bring it up here. But I say, what other areas? I don't say, are there any other areas? Huge distinction. If you're saying, are there any other areas? They're saying no or yes. And then you got to go, what? Because just by the way you ask the question. So you want to ask open-ended questions. What other areas? Implying that there are other areas. Got it. What other areas of life do you feel like you were lacking confidence? Oh, my relationships. Got it. What else? My health. Got it. So they just listed out 3 things. These are now 3 items that we got to decide which one is the biggest, heaviest, most painful item. They're going to give you that one if you ask the right question. So between your career, your relationships, and your health, which area do you feel like you lack the most confidence in? My career. Gotcha. Why do you say that? One of the best questions you can ask is when they say something, ask them why they say that. Because there's more to it. Well, because I do sales, and I know if I was more confident, I would make more money. More money? What do you mean? So we're going to do, and we'll go into this. There's a lot I got to teach you, but this is mirroring. This is more money. Yeah, so we want them to expand on it. Yeah, so pain. I'd make more money. When I knock on doors, I don't feel confident, and people can tell, and they don't want to buy from me, and they always buy from the confident guy. All right, let's say you just kept like asking questions. Then you just go, how long? Well, 4 years. Okay. So if you had 10 out of 10 confidence for the past 4 years, what do you feel your income level would be at now? Oh man, I'd be doing $400,000. This is the real problem. Now, he wouldn't have known, this person would have no idea that this seemingly small issue is worth $400,000 times 4 years, which is $1.6 million minus the income that he did over those past 4 years, which is probably a lot less than this. Let's say it's $300,000, right? And now we just basically say, okay, got it. So you're telling me this has costed you $1.3 million? Just confidence? Yes. That is how you build a gap. So that's a word track that shows somebody how a very vague concept of a problem, like a confidence. I have confidence issues. You could do this with, say, purpose. Hey, if you had more purpose, like let's say it's a find your purpose offer. If you had more purpose, where do you feel like you'd be right now? Oh my God, I'd be friggin' Elon Musk. I'd be this. Because everybody's going to want to exaggerate to the highest level because they all believe in their mind that they're like the main character. Everyone thinks they're the main character of this show, which they're kind of right. And so anything that is a lot less than where they think they should be, you have a gap. But it's your questions that showcase that gap. All right. So everyone's going to take action. This is the key here. Everyone will take action to regain a perceived loss more than they will to create gains. So he's going to be like, dude, I can't believe I've had people like, dude, wow, like I didn't realize how much this was really costing me. This has been costing me millions of dollars, and I've never really saw it as a problem until now. And they say that exactly. And then I'm like, yeah, I understand. I mean, is this important enough for you to solve now? Okay, like, is this a good time to take action? Is this a good time to move forward? Yeah, you're right. It is. I think it is. But like, if I didn't go through this whole thing, they wouldn't have seen it. So your job, again, it's creating word tracks and pulling them to see that problem. And you can do this with any offer, but the unaware market is like, there's so much money being left on the table because you don't know how to take an unaware person and make them aware. That's where like a lot of people are missing out. And they're just really going for like, they're just hoping they come across a guy who's just like, I have a confidence issue and I need to solve it now. And they're trying to find that. And they can't because like most people that actually have a confidence issue, they're not really looking for the problem. Or they're not looking for the solution. Or they don't even think there is a solution. They just think it's how they are. And so that's just one example. So now let's go into number 2. Pain aware, problem unaware. So again, they have pain. They don't know what the problem is. This is a bit of a more moderate difficulty. This is most you guys are going to be here. So the main challenges to be aware of here are misdiagnosing a problem, trust objections, losing leadership, confusing prospects, and think about it objections. Not a confusing prospect, but you confusing the prospect. Okay. This is where if you clarify wrong and you say, hey, so is this your problem? They're like, oh, no. Or you misdiagnose it and like it doesn't make any sense. You could do that and it screws them up. You can get a trust objection because now like they have this pain. But like imagine you go to a doctor and the doctor is like not showcasing himself as a doctor. He's asking questions that are kind of salesy. You're going to be like, are you actually a doctor? And then he's going to be like, yeah, like, so give me a bunch of money and I'm going to give you this pill. Because of like, he didn't handle himself right. You're going to be like, I don't know about that, bro. And you're not going to trust him. So trust objections are a little high here. Losing leadership. So like because they're very vulnerable because they don't know the problem, they're going to be very like, they need to be led. There's confusing prospects because a lot of times like people, like you're aware of what the problem is, but they're only aware of their pain. You're going to have this urge to just go tell them what the problem is. And the way that you're telling them the problem, this is all the technobabble section, it confuses them and then they start to think, they have to think about it because they're confused. They're like, yeah, you give me a lot of information to think about. I got to go think. They don't want to take action. So that's kind of like the main challenges here. The best practices is doubt-inducing questions, clarifying questions, open loops, which is you're opening a loop. You're not finishing. Like you're saying, hey, I have the answer. But then they're going to be like, what? And then you'll be like, let's do it over a call. That's like a really, really big good practice here. Especially if you're new and you just got to get people to calls and like just like open loops, it works really well. Asking goal-oriented questions, because when somebody's like living in a lot of pain, it's very hard for them to imagine what their goals are or what it could be. And it's really hard to create a gap because they're sitting in pain. Somebody who's sitting in a lot of pain mentally, physically, emotionally, they're just so deep in it that they're not thinking about goals, so there's not enough of a gap, and they're more comfortable in that, and like it's kind of like if somebody hasn't drank water for 2.5 days, and you're sitting there like, do you remember what water tastes like? Like, I have some water right here, and you dangle it in front of them, they're gonna want it more because they are in pain. But if there's no water in the picture, they're used to being that thirsty. So going goal heavy on this is good. So examples of potential pain aware but problem unaware markets. You're gonna have biz op, health, fitness, weight loss, B2B, B2B with complex problems that you go in and you solve the problem. Business coaching. So business coaching is huge for it. Like I'm going to give an example here. So the best way to handle these types of buyers are helping them find the problem. So as the value add, you saying, hey, I can help you find the cause of this pain is like what was going to get them to lead them to the next call, to the next offer, to the next thing. Like that's like a really, really good value add. So it's also wise to gain clarity around their goals as a way to create contrast. So the goal for you, like to help them buy, is for you to create contrast in their mind. Here's where like you could be. So then it makes the pain more, but also like there's more of a reason that's pushing them towards the goal. Example, let's say you have a consulting offer that helps coaches grow their business. The prospect spends their day, let's say they're messaging people all day, they're working on their offer, they're creating reels, they're freaking doing videos, it's a chaotic mess. They're in a state of confusion. They're spending hours upon hours upon hours, chaotically working, spinning their wheels, not getting anywhere. They may think they just need more sales, more leads, more deals. But upon further inspection, you found that they're charging $100 an hour per coaching call, completely one-to-one, and half of their week is spent on fulfillment. So their perceived problem is not enough sales. The real problem is a bad offer, which leads to bad pricing, which leads to an economically unhealthy business that can't scale. So you know what the offer is, they don't. And your job is to get them to see it, realize it, see you as an authority, and buy. Cool. Here's how the conversation would go. You have your golden question. What's the biggest challenge you currently have in your business? Not enough leads, not enough clients. Background question. Got it. Here's why I do the background question. I need more details. I don't know. I can't do anything with this. So got it. And before we dig into that, could you just give me like a brief overview of your business? Like what do you do? What's your offer? What's your revenue, etc.? Just lay all that out. Yeah, for sure. I'm a fitness coach. I help executives lose 30 pounds in 90 days, and I do one-on-one coaching for $100 an hour. My revenue is $3,000 a month. Clarifying questions. Okay, gotcha. So you mentioned leads and sales are the biggest issue. Can you elaborate on what you've been experiencing with that? Yeah, so I am DMing all day. I'm getting people who aren't interested, and I have to spend 30 hours a week on calls with clients. I think I need to run ads or get better marketing system, yada, yada. Then I want to go into a probing question here. So I'm curious, what do you feel is keeping you from getting more leads and sales right now? I really don't know. Or they're going to say, well, this or that. And as you probe, you're gathering data and you're kind of creating that case that I talked about. There's another way to create a case. Because they're saying, I have this problem. You're saying, I have this. This is the real problem. Really, all we're trying to get them to do is just answer the questions until like it starts to not make sense. Okay? Remember, it has to be their idea. You can't sit here being like, here's what your problem is, too early on. From here, after they're in a state of doubt, let's say they go, I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell's causing this. From here, they're in a doubt. They're in doubt and they're admitting defeat as to what the issue is. Why they can't solve it. All right? They can't solve it. They don't know what the issue is. They're doubtful. So there are a few options here. We can diagnose in DMs or open a loop and frame the call as a way to discover the real problem. I'm going to say if you're a lower skill level, I would say, hey, I have some advice for you. And there's going to be more, like go to the transition section on more on how to transition. This is one of the transitions. You mind if I give you some advice on this? I'm like, yeah, go for it. Cool. It's going to take me a little while to type all this out. We could just hop on a call, yada, yada, right? And then you're basically saying, let's just hop on a call and I'll give you some advice. They're going to be likely to hop on that call. That's one way to do it, and it's going to get people on calls. Second way to do this is you can actually do it in DMs and diagnose the problem. And you can, but like you got to do it strategically. You can be like, so how many clients are you, what you can do is do a case. You're like, so how many clients are you working with? And you're going to find out that it's probably going to be 30 clients, and they're all at $100 or whatever. And maybe, it's probably going to be less than that. Maybe 15 clients, one a week, whatever. And maybe it comes out to 3,000 a month. I don't know. I don't want to do the math. But you're going to basically show them that they don't have a problem getting clients because they already have a whole bunch. Like, got it. What's keeping you from charging more money? So from just charging more money. And then they'll be like, well, I don't know how to. Got it. So if you did charge more money, let's say you charged, this much money. Well, actually, they're so unaware of, like, models, they're probably not going to know. But you'd be like, what's keeping you from charging more money? That's a good question to ask to just make them realize, like, maybe if I just charge more money, I can make more money with the less clients. Duh. Another thing that you can do is you can be like, got it. Would you rather, you could do a this or that, right? And we're going to go more into this. But, hey, would you rather charge $3,000 for 3 months of coaching, or would you rather charge by the hour? Or would you rather charge a lump sum to get your clients to a result, or would you rather charge by the hour? Well, I'd rather charge to a lump sum. Well, why do you say that? Well, what's keeping you from doing that? I don't know how. Got it. So what I'm hearing is the problem is actually... Sounds like your problem is you're just not charging enough, and what that's doing is you're asking them. You're like, it sounds like you're just not charging enough, and that's what's keeping you on calls all day, and that's really what's keeping you from sitting down and coming up with a marketing process. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, that's exactly it. And now they're believing, that's a belief shift. They believe now that the problem is they're just not charging enough, and that's what's really causing the marketing issue. And now what you can do is like, hey, I totally understand. I actually do this all day long. This is what I do. I solve offer problems. And now they're going to see you as an authority because you help them come to that conclusion. Then they're going to book the call with you. So that's one example. Again, all of these, there's like a million ways to do this, and I'm going to give you all of it. But this is a problem unaware person. Okay? You help them come to that conclusion through questions. They get it. You move on. All right? Get them on a call. Close them. Next, there's pain-aware and problem-aware messaging. This is easy to moderate. Main challenges here to be aware of is DIY objections, weighing their options. So like them just not pulling the trigger on somebody. So they're talking to other people, other suppliers. Timing. Frame battles. So a lot of times the prospect will start asking you questions because they're very solution oriented. They're looking at solutions, so they're going to ask you questions about the solution. Missing objections because you're being over eager to sell them. So you're realizing they have all this buying language, and then you just like start removing your script, and your process disappears, and then all of a sudden all these objections pop up. Best practices here is doubt-inducing questions. Meaning doubt on their other solutions, doubt on like how they're making decisions, and then being able to help them make the decision. Another one here is deflecting questions. So a good practice is to deflect questions, sticking to a process, collecting information about their decision-making process. So how do they typically make decisions? Finding potential objections and financially qualifying. Okay, so a lot of times, these guys right here, they're pain aware and problem aware. They are notoriously there's like it's always the brokest of the broke leads are the ones that are very, very pain aware. They're very, very problem aware, and they're just like they want to get on all the calls. They want to fill up your calendar space. and there's usually kind of a reason because they don't have the money anyways. So they're not worried about losing anything. So that's why there's no resistance. Examples of potential pain-aware, problem-aware markets: B2B, software, merchant services, biz op. Think of the laydown sales, the laydown type sales. Someone knows the problem, they know they need help, and they're booking a call to solve the issue and buy. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't even need to go into scripting here. They typically go something like this. The buyer reaches out, you reach out to them, and they open right up, right? They admit to all the problems, and they make it easy on you to ask questions. The biggest thing to watch out for with this is newbies always get blindsided by these guys because they get way overeager and they skip parts of the process. So, like, I've had people, they're just like, dude, you gotta just close me, man. Like, just please, like, I need to, like, what's the offer? Like, I'm freaking dying here. I'm like, no, I got more questions. And I find objections that they would have been like, they would have looked like to anybody else on the surface, they would have been like, yo, that guy's going to close. That guy's going to close. But then all of a sudden, some random objection out of left field comes in because I didn't do my due diligence to really find that question. And that's where everybody gets screwed up. So make sure you're doing that. Cool. Recap here. Again, these 3 awareness levels. We're going to go into all these later down the road. Not that, whatever. We're going to go all these later down the road. But I just at least want you to be aware of the awareness levels. That way, when we are creating your scripting, we are creating your golden question, what we're doing in week 2, you're going to know why. And this is the reason why. Remember, we're starting with why. We're getting deep understanding. That's what's going to make you a messaging master. All right? See you on the next video. Peace.